She's a spice, right pipe, like bike, like Yokohama. What the fuck is going on, guys? Yeah, I just put that Drake in there. Thank you for coming back for episode 3. We are the Kai Beam podcast. I'm the host, Kai Beam, and I have with me Gamdo, my co-host. So I just quickly wanted to get through that because there's a lot of shit to talk about today. So yeah, just bear with us. This one might be longer than we usually strive for. We usually strive for like an hour and a half, somewhere in that range. But this one might be 2 hours and over. But what does it matter? There's stuff to talk about. So,
it's not like they're going anywhere.
Yeah.
Shutdown, baby.
Yeah, seriously. Another shutdown.
That's sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, definitely. So, we're going to start with like music stuff first. So there has like been a lot of like just death and other sort of issues that have been going on. So I want to kind of start with the death stuff first because that shit is more so like, it's just sad, right? Death sucks. And especially when it's like artists that people look up to and all that kind of stuff. So the latest death that we know of is King Von. Now, personally, I've never listened to him. I know my one of my other cousins, he loved him as an artist, so I know he was really shaking up about it. It just sucks, man. Like the violence is like it's almost just never ending. You know what I'm saying? Like we just lose so many people. It's like we lost Pop Smoke, and it's like, when does the violence end? Like, it just, you have all these, like, up-and-coming new people who have, like, a bright future. They found a way out, and then they get snubbed. It's just, it's fucked up.
It's crazy out there.
It really is. And I hope he rests in peace. I hope his family, I wish his family condolences and his fans condolences as well. And, yeah, speaking of like more so like shooting stuff, Boosie, he actually got shot in his leg in Dallas apparently, which that's just like, again, like, why is this stuff happening?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
They say why he actually got shot in the leg.
No one knows. As far as like this article I'm looking at, like no one really knows like why it happened. Like he was just celebrating, like he was having like, what does it say over here? He was doing a trip to Dallas and he was doing some sort of show towards another rapper that had passed from violence as well, who was murdered. His name was Will 3. And apparently when he and his entourage were in their Sprinter van or whatever, someone shot at him. It's like, I just don't understand. Like, why is there just all this violence, bro? Like, I just don't get it. Like, I don't get it.
I don't know. You and me had this conversation the other day. We were just talking about how like it seems like the stigma with being a rapper just seems like unwanted attention, and they just feel like it's a challenge for other people to just want to try to, I don't know, like prove themselves that they're gangster or something. Like I don't know. Like it's whack. It really is.
It's whack as fuck. It really is. It's like what people need to realize is like it's like on Joe's podcast too, actually. Shout out to Joe. Love the podcast. I watch them all the time. But it's like the young people who do all these like things, the shootings, the killings, they all need to realize, bro, like life is cool. Like all that gangster shit you try to do and all this like killing and stuff, like it's an endless cycle, bro.
It's really weird, honestly, seeing people thinking that like you get clout by like killing people. Like it's some like Afro samurai shit. Like you're like about to snatch a headband off these motherfuckers, and I don't know. I seen a video actually like last night as I was on Reddit. There's a lot of Reddit subreddits on there that honestly kind of humble my existence and makes me think about my mortality. There's one in specific where this one chick, she was in this car with like two other dudes and she had a gun and she was trying to act all gangster and she was pointing at this dude like at his head. Mind you, this is real graphic. Of course, we're not going to show it. But she was like pointing the gun at his head. She's like, "What you gonna do?" Ended up shooting him in the head.
Wow.
And then they like dipped out the car. He survived, but it's just like, this whole thing about like wanting to be gangster with the gun is, I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, it's like someone at work I talked to. He was actually, I won't say his name because just for prosperity and all that. But I was talking to him like it was Friday or Thursday, and he's kind of giving me like a recount of his like life a little bit because he used to live in the projects and stuff, which I didn't know. But yeah, he was just telling me some stories, and I was just like, oh, so fucked up shit, man. Like he actually went from that because he said he made so many poor life choices. He wanted to like help youth, like kind of originally like the job before this job, he was trying to like help youth like in an outreach program, like steer them in the right direction. Actually, one of the kids he was responsible for, he ended up getting killed, and he didn't even know about it until like way later. And he said it really fucked him up because it's just like,
Damn.
The reason it really fucked him up is because he said he thought about how all the times in his life where he could have lost his life as well, and it's just like, damn, what more could I have done to stop that from happening? It's fucked up out here, man. It really is.
It's a shitty situation.
It is. But that's the world we live in. I can only hope, even though I'm cynical at heart a little bit, I only hope shit gets better because like I'm tired of seeing people die, especially black people. It sucks. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, to continue on with the sadness, because we just want to push through this shit. So I'm a fan of DaBaby. I think he makes good music, but apparently his brother committed suicide recently.
I actually saw that the article about that. Like he was like really jealous. It was like he was jealous of his brother or something like that. Like he never got like.
I think it was like a combination of jealousy and maybe just self-loathing, and obviously he had to have had mental problems. But DaBaby claims that what he was saying, because the brother was like, "Oh, none of my family cares about me," blah 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 blah. Like I'm just done or something like that. It's just like DaBaby came out. I was like, I don't understand why this even happened. Like, dude, we loved you. Like we didn't treat you like any different. Like we loved you. So like I don't know what transpired for him to take his own life. That sucks because he left behind kids too. So that's another casualty there, is the kids, because now they're gonna have to grow up and hear about that, which that's hard. But I hope DaBaby and his family, condolences to them. Rest in peace to his brother. His brother's name is Glenn Johnson. Just want to say his name just to pay respects in that way. So
you never know what's going on in people's minds, and I can't speak for this person, but it's just like what some people perceive in their head is completely different from what's actually happening in reality.
It's true,
and that's I don't know. That's just that. But is that it for the DaBaby? I don't even know how to pronounce his name.
DaBaby. Yeah, DaBaby. That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
But the next thing is like just stuff with like the whole Megan and Tory stuff, which man, I gotta say
that shit was go ahead.
That shit was funny because I was listening to Meg's album and nigga, she starts off the first track, like I told you one of the other days when we were talking. She starts off on the intro track flaming this nigga. And if there was any doubt, no, she literally told you pretty much all that happened. Nigga, they were together. Nigga started fucking her friend. And then he was also apparently trying to get at Kylie Jenner too, which I don't know who this nigga thinks he is, but okay. And so when she called him out on it, and basically called him out on his Napoleon complex and how this nigga's a cornball. He's always been a cornball, and if you go back and you look far enough, this nigga's always been a corny ass nigga. So when he got his money, that only amplified that. And so when she called him out, basically said he's bitch made and to fuck off. You know what this nigga does? Because she says in the song, this nigga takes a gun with BB pellets and shoots her in the foot. And that makes sense because now it makes sense why a BB bullet, like, she'd only like have maybe surface wounds or whatever, and not so much like her foot got like mangled by an actual bullet. But still, to resort to violence because you were in the wrong and now she's walking out on you, like, nigga, you are a bitch. Like, that is
Yeah.
just, you're a bitch. Straight
That
up.
was like when you had told me that the other day, I was just like dumbfounded, like befuddled, if you will. And it's just like that is the most bitch made little dick energy thing I have ever heard because like I understand like you get people get rejected all the time.
Right.
And like not putting it into any of our situations, but rejection happens all the time. The fact that like you get called out, handle that shit, dog. Just handle that. But he just like, no, I'm just gonna just fucking pop her in her feet. Like, no, that is whack as fuck.
Yeah.
That is seriously whack.
Even regardless of even if it was real bullets or not, the fact that you had the intentions to even shoot her, nigga, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, I was already off him. I wasn't listening to shit, but now that she's pretty much came out and confirmed that, fuck that nigga. Bye. Like, nah, we're cool. So I'm glad she actually came out and talked about it and just put that all to rest. Now, if you're still one of those people that are like, oh, well, we still haven't heard his side in court, nigga, I don't know what to say to you. You're fucking dumb. No. All right. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's just
her friend, her little
Oh
ex-friend,
yeah, I forgot about that.
was
Yeah,
that was no
yeah.
she I was looking at the article that you're talking about because apparently like her ex-friend was like talking shit about Megan, talking about how like she doesn't want like her soul or her face,
Yeah, it's
but
just like,
they kind of have the same complexion, so it's a little hard for that, but
exactly, and people were like roasting her for that, and it's just like, you really mad because Megan cut you off after you started fucking with a nigga. Wow, now granted, that's on Tory too, because again, he's a bitch ass nigga, so that's on both of them. But the fact that you're mad because Meg cut you off, and you over here like, yeah, well, yeah, like, what did she say? LOL, I would never want a soul like hers. Face and body don't mean shit. We're like, you sound so salty. You're like, just get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, you sound salty as shit. Like, I swear, man.
there's a lot of people just in like the rap game. I don't know, like, just trying to get clout. Like Ti has like a worst case.
Yeah,
He's just been saying some pretty iffy shit for the past
yeah,
3 or 4 years.
and
like this whole thing with King Von.
yeah,
You know,
I just don't get Tip's mindset currently. Like, man, I have to say, one of the things that got me into making music was Ti. Like, he's one of my favorite artists back in the day, and he still is. Like, his older albums anyway. Because I really don't listen to much of his new shit that he does. I mean, I want to, but lately, these past couple of years, like, this nigga just says shit that I just don't understand. Like, why? Like, bro, this thing right here. Even if you weren't talking about King Von, like, that's irrelevant. Nigga, just read the room, bro. This dude comes out and just says, what does he say? Atlanta is a beautiful city filled with black excellence. We uplift each other and win together. Stop coming here to kill each other. That shit is played out. Like, what?
yeah.
Like, why would you even say that?
The poor timing in this man's like speech is just immaculate. I'm sounding like him now, but you get my point. Like, it's essentially what happened when Kobe died, and it was like they didn't even bury him or his child or the people who were on the helicopter along with them. Didn't even bury him yet. And the first thing people talked about was his rape allegations.
Yeah,
which happened almost over 20 years ago. And
I just don't
the poor timing is just, man, I'm a big person on intention versus like, all right, good intentions, poor execution. And I feel like we as human beings like don't know how to like not have balance, but just be able to execute it properly because we all have good intentions in life, but man, we fucking suck at executing them sometimes.
Yeah, seriously. And it's just unfortunate, and with Ti specifically, he had like some of the things we're referencing back in the past that he's done is like that whole thing with his daughter and the hymen thing. It's like why would you even say something like that? Like it's just like, bro. And I told you
like,
before
this
too.
climate right here, like this climate with sexual assault, like Me Too, and just like women's autonomy. Why the fuck, as like a grown man, would you say that? Like, and I told you this before. I was like, why is it that just like people who were hot back in the day, I want to essentially just call them old heads because they're kind of like in their 40s. Why the hell do they just have this idea that the times haven't changed? Like, you could just say shit and people would be on the block like, yeah, my nigga, yeah, actually that sounded real. You can't do that shit. You can't fucking do that because there's technology everywhere that records anything that you do and it will be used against you no matter what.
Exactly.
Fucking dumb.
Exactly. Like we were talking before the other day as well. Like it's just funny. Like T.I. specifically, he uses all these big words and shit, and it's just like I said, saying big words in these sentences that you're stringing along and all that shit like expeditiously and all this other bullshit, nigga, that does not mean you're smart. Yeah, like just thinking about the situation, reading the room, making sure that whatever you're saying isn't like insensitive towards like certain things that are going on. You should be thinking about that. Like it just doesn't seem like he thinks what he's saying when he says it. But I digress. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm a fan of his earlier work back when he wasn't wilding out here. But I also forgot to mention too, like I said to you the other day as well. Like a lot of these dudes do this whole rage marketing shit because this is an actual thing. If you people don't know, where they say these celebrities say or do things that they know will piss people off in order for them to drive numbers into whatever they're trying to get numbers to. So for him, in his case, it would be his podcast because obviously you want more numbers, right? More viewership. If you say some stupid ass shit, well, these people are mad, but now they want to see what else this nigga has to say. Well, he got his numbers for the day. Like he doesn't care. So
I just don't think anyone's really coming for a T.I. for his opinions like that. Like they came for his music,
and it's just funny because like I told you, like the thing with these celebrities and a lot of you guys out there, you need to think about this as well. Is like stop looking at these celebrities to like basically uphold your values and like all the things that you like hold in your character, because I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 they're gonna disappoint you. I only go to these guys for music and that is it. I don't look to these niggas for their opinions. If they just happen to say something that's like, that I hold true to my character that I agree with, I'm like, okay, that's cool. That guy's a cool dude. But if they don't, I just keep it pushing. Like, whatever. That nigga's dumb. Fuck him. But his music is good. I'm just gonna stay right there. I have nothing else to do with that. So that's just the mentality that I have now. Like I just don't look towards them for anything that is whole to my character and values and things like that. It's just something to think about.
For sure. What's this whole thing going on with Gucci Mane though?
Oh yeah, so like, well, it's already passed by now because I didn't realize it was going to be this week. I believe it was this week. So like, I haven't watched any of them, but they started doing these versus battles with all these different artists. And the reason I put this in here is because Gucci Mane got subbed in instead of T.I. because it was originally supposed to be T.I. versus Jeezy. And it's like this whole music thing. They go back, I think for like 20 tracks, they go back playing shit. And by the end, like whoever, like it's up to the viewers really, whoever won, so to speak, because they play like big records or B-sides or like records that they really like or some stuff like that. So originally it was going to be T.I. versus Jeezy. And instead, Gucci Mane came in and replaced T.I. And the reason that's big is because for anyone that is into like rap and all that stuff, you know about how Gucci and Jeezy, they had a lot of issues. Like even up till now, they've been having issues since like what, the early 2000s on some street shit. So this right here, this is one positive thing I can say. This will show, like, especially young black men and like just the culture, like in terms of like violence, like you can come together and squash your beef and try to like have some sort of amicable relationship. I'm not saying they're best friends now, of course, right? This is just the verses. Like they just got in the room, we played some music, chopped it up, whatever. But it's still a good thing to see because that can put in the minds of, oh, okay, maybe it's cool. Maybe it's cool to squash my beef with this guy over here before it gets any worse, before someone dies, right? So,
Yeah.
so I put that in there just as a kind of light at the end of the tunnel there, and yeah, that's all I really pretty much have to say on that. I mean, I think that pretty much covers music. So,
All right then. So let's go ahead and go on to gaming in that case.
yeah.
So last podcast I had mentioned about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now I had very iffy opinions about it. At first, I mentioned about the Assassin's Creed Netflix series. There's been no like updates to that, but basically, I played Valhalla because Cyberpunk got delayed. And technically, Cyberpunk would have been out last previous Thursday, and since that didn't come out, my friend was telling me about Uplay Plus, and I was like, you know what? Because I didn't want to get like the thing with Ubisoft games is like they're a hit or miss some of the times. Like Watch Dogs 2 was like I heard it was okay, but like Watch Dogs Legions, I heard that is shit. And there was no way I was gonna pay like $60 for that at all. Hearing my friend play it, he was saying that like the the frames would drop to like 20 to like 30 frames per second, and he has like an RTX 2080 Super, so like it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But I gave Valhalla a shot, and honestly, I did not like Assassin's Creed after Syndicate, mainly because of the fact that I feel like they downgraded a lot of the mechanics. Like the combat was really Witcher-esque, which like I get that they were trying to go for that. I mean, actually, let me backtrack. I liked Origins, but I hated Odyssey strictly because of the fact that like they went bare bones with it, and then like kind of separated themselves a little bit from the Assassin's Creed lore, where it's like Assassins versus Templar, and I just didn't really care for it. But with Valhalla, they get introduced to like a character named Eivor. You have the option to either choose like be a female or male, or go through the canonical route, which I guess apparently Eivor is a female, and he essentially runs in with the assassin stick to his brother Sigurd, and you just kind of go through this like massive journey. And I have to say, like, the map is fucking huge, but for like a good reason, because like Beam, how like open world games kind of have like this bad habit of having open worldness just for the sake of it and
Right,
not
and
having very much life.
you don't have like life or like anything to fill it out to make it interesting and it's boring. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Played a lot of
yeah.
times.
The world literally is connected to the story. I remember a couple days ago I was playing and I was in this village and they got fucking ransacked, dog. Like they got pillaged. And there was this dad and his kid, and the dad was like, "Eat your food, like so you can survive." And like the kid is just like, "But there's no food for you, father. You will die." And I was just like, "Damn, that's rough." And then like one of the people saw A4, I guess, because I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes like the story with gaming, I don't really pay attention to it too much, especially when it's kind of like interactive cutscenes where you can skip it. So I didn't really know what A4 did, but people like looked at me and they're like, "There he goes, that fucking bitch." And I'm like, "Oh, he must have did something." I'm kind of rambling, but yeah, no, I really like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like I've been playing this a lot. I noticed they kind of took a lot of stuff from Ghost of Tsushima. One thing in particular is like when you're on your mount, there's a lot of things you can pick up in the Valhalla world, specifically like mushrooms and stuff to heal and gain adrenaline. And one thing I like about that is just the fact that when I'm on the move, there's no reason why I want to actually have to get off the horse just to pick something up that's going to take technically a second to do. And it's so it I don't want to say it doesn't it it keeps the immersion, but it just keeps the pace up, and I'd rather prefer that happening than actually having to get off the horse.
Right. I agree with that.
So
It doesn't break
yeah.
the flow of the gameplay. You just keep going.
Yeah, because like I don't know, like when you have to travel somewhere and you're almost dying, you got stabbed in the back like 5 times by like an 8-foot giant. Someone's fucking bobbing and weaving like he's like in like Rocky Balboa. Like you just want to get your shit and go. So I'm glad that they did that. Like I'm kind of a fan of Assassin's Creed again, and I hope they continue down this route. I know they're going to go with the next generation, so it's going to be another trilogy. But yeah, that in mind, let's talk about the bullshit in gaming, because along with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it has honestly pissed me off because a couple days after Valhalla, actually no, I think this was like I forgot when Valhalla came out, but a couple weeks ago, someone tweeted out to Ubisoft. They said, I didn't include this into my hashtag Assassin's Creed Valhalla impressions piece, but it's equally important to address this character description in the game. It is absolutely unacceptable to talk about facial features or talk about the facial differences this way. Writers for games and otherwise need to do better. And the description, it basically talks about this character who had who was scarred from being burned, and it said horribly burned in childhood accident. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'll just call it Ephraim. Yeah. It's terrified someone will see her disfigured face. She relieves her fury in bursts of violence. The thing about that is that for some reason, people like this tend to project their own insecurities. But for this person in specific, they were offended on behalf of their girlfriend, which that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, oh my God. This shit is just so dumb, bro. Continue.
No, it is dumb. Because the fact that Assassin's Creed actually like apologized because Ubisoft doesn't have the fucking nuts to actually stand up, and we're like actually made an update for this to happen, and I was like, you have to be fucking kidding me.
Like, hey, you know what's even funnier too is you see this comment down here, because I'll just read what they said. They said, thank you so much for pointing this out. We'll apologize for unintentionally reinforcing ableism through this language. We will remove this language in an upcoming update. And the person down here, thank you for addressing and working to do better. Like, what? Like, yeah, what are we talking? What are we talking about?
I have one thing to say about that person, or to that person, is fuck you. Because, like, there's a thing, I don't know, Assassin's Creed is a game set around history, but in a fictional setting, or in a fictional scenario. And the thing is, though, is they want to be historically accurate as possible. That goes down to the language and just to everything, to be historically accurate. And I'm sorry, but anyone who knows history knows that history is not kind. It was fucking mean. It was not sugar-coated. Like, no. There was no representation. That's the reason why we have history now, to look back on it and see how far we came. But the fact this person right here is so butthurt about something that they don't even suffer from, but on behalf of their significant other, they're like, I'm offended for my girlfriend, so I have to let you know that this upsets me. This person is fucking fictional. And even if they weren't, they're not even alive anymore. This is in the 9th century, you dumb fuck. Like, why do we feel like we need to voice our opinion with everything? This is the reason why I hate like social media so much, just because we have this like mindset that, oh, we have this platform, so we must use it at all times. And if I'm upset, everyone has to know that I'm upset. No.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and I have plenty of examples of this too, because we have our topics down here, and I just wanted to relate this back to other games that this type of shit has happened to. So the first time I saw this shit really starting to affect gaming, and just, mind you, this type of stuff is not only affecting gaming, it's affecting TV shows, it's affecting movies, all that type of shit. But the first time I noticed this type of shit happening was in Assassin's Creed, but it was with Odyssey, right? So back then, there's these DLCs, right? So you play as Cassandra, Demos, whatever. Within that storyline, right, they basically force you to have a kid. Now, this story was presented earlier on throughout the main game because you have to continue the lineage. So when Ubisoft had dropped the DLC and people were playing through it, you had these fucking goofs out here who start complaining that, oh, well, I was playing Cassandra as asexual. Why are you forcing me to do this? And it's just like, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, bro, this is a fictional character. The story has been presented to you. Why are you making a big deal about a fictional character continuing the lineage so that it may live on, whether she wanted to do it or not? Because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I don't think her mom wanted kids either. It's more specifically with the guy she had to do it with. But she did it because, for what? To continue the lineage. And I just don't get
I blame
it.
Ubisoft for that right
I
there.
don't get
I
it.
honestly do. Because that's one thing I didn't like about Assassin's Creed, the direction they were going, because like I really didn't like the idea that Assassin's Creed was going to go more RPG, because I feel like when you have a story that deals with like timelines and lineage, it's impossible, because
Right.
it's like no matter what. Because if you're taking in the perspective of Desmond Miles going all the way back to Ezio Auditore to Frenzy, like there's no way you can have RPG elements in that to where he can have relationships. If you want to make him asexual, it can't be done. That is literally his ancestor. And the fact that people, and I think like people who don't play this game, because I see a lot of people say like, oh, I never got into Assassin's Creed, but I liked Odyssey. Like Odyssey was like their first game. They never understood like the story behind it. And so
Right.
they just think like, oh my gosh, like I know they're dealing with time travel technically, but it's like I want my character to be this sort of way. And they get mad when there's actually a story. Like I would just say find a different game, because you can't be upset when there's like an actual like continuity with that, you know.
Right. And I'm just like, all I can do is shake my head. And I'm not done with these examples because I have two more. And these are recent games too, by the way. First, I'll start off with The Last of Us 2, that abomination. Like,
Yeah, this
I'll
nigga
just,
hates
yeah,
this game,
I'm just going to
boy.
go on record and just tell you guys, I hate that game. I'm not talking about from a gameplay standpoint. I'm talking from a story standpoint. I don't care what you say to try and tell me that that's a good story. That story is garbage. Just from the simple point of what they tried to shoehorn and do in there. Now, you like, let's put that aside. Like, if you enjoyed the game and the story, that's good. Good for you. Like, I'm not gonna try to convert you and tell you why you shouldn't. Good for you. But when you have these companies, and I'm talking about Naughty Dog, and you look at people like Neil Druckmann, who just for some reason can't shut their mouth and are just continually being assholes about like their product, and you have this nigga basically coming out here like, oh well, we don't care about critics, we don't care about like what you're saying, we got 10 on 10s. It's like, okay, so what you're telling me is you don't want to improve your products, you don't want to take criticism to further improve your storytelling or any aspect of your game, your future games. That's what you're telling me. Like, dude, get the fuck out of here with your bullshit, dude. And that is exactly why I'm going to tell you guys right now how funny it is. Yesterday night, I turned on my PS4, my PS4. I don't know why I said PS5. I'm not getting that shit for a while. Anyway, turn on my PS4, and I go on the PlayStation Store, and what do I see on sale? Fucking Last of Us 2 for $30. You know what that tells me? Because that's not the first time that game went on sale, by the way. That tells me that those numbers they were talking about earlier with that 4 million shit, I'm going to tell you right now, that was a load of crap. That was bullshit. And that's struggling to sell right now, so they're having to sell that for $30 because no one wants to fucking play it, just simply because of the word of mouth and all this shit. And I with that game right there, I can tell you right now, if there are any future spoilers for games that come out, I'm doing it because I fucked myself over so badly.
Yeah.
not doing that.
I try to tell Beam about it because our other friend Izzy, I was telling him and I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, after these spoilers right here, because I never played the game. Um, in my opinion, like Last of Us didn't interest me, and the fact that people were saying like this is like a masterpiece, like I don't know, like when people hype up like stuff up like that and they overhype it, like I see things as like overrated, and I just like never got into it. But when I saw the spoilers, I was like, oh boy, I know a couple people who are not gonna like this at all, and
Yeah,
it was actually from what I saw and from what people were describing, they said the spoilers were bad, the actual game was even worse, and I was like, God damn, and yeah,
yeah.
no.
It's just unfortunate, man. And I know they're gonna do a Last of Us Part 3, and it's just gonna be funny to see how they go about that in terms of like, because it's just like with like Star Wars or any of these other big brands that feel the need to like alienate your fan base or parts of your fan base for some reason and just cater these fucking weirdos that have no that these people that you cater to, none of these niggas play your game, bro.
That
They
thought
aren't the
just occurred to me actually, because you know when you have a product, you have a target audience, right?
right.
And like you look at your target audience and you basically do a not really like, well, kind of like a poll, but you like do like a pie chart where you're like who plays the most games as far as like gender. And throughout history, gaming has been majority like a guy thing.
Right.
And same thing with Star Wars, because George Lucas said that this is for Star Wars, or Star Wars is like made for kids, like little boys who like space and stuff like that. But like I don't know, it's such betrayal when they do that, when they're just like, hey, this has been like a mainly guy centric thing because I don't really know the stipulations behind it, but you know, this is just it right here. Like guys like to play video games. It's you know, that's fair. But to go out and say like, oh, like we're gonna cater more towards an audience who's not really like asking for it like that. Like I know a couple, I know a lot of girls that play like games and stuff like that,
Right.
but that's not the top priority. They're not like I have yet to like talk to someone who's actually excited about a game or like announced a game and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that. Never crosses their mind.
Right.
I'm not like trying to make it like a gender thing, but it's just like it's just really weird when companies just try to like steer away from like the audience that got them their revenue and
Yeah, and it's just like why I just don't understand the thought process with that. Because these people that are projecting themselves like with this Assassin's Creed or Last of Us 2 or whatever, like, and mind you, I just want to quickly say terms of Last of Us, because what they were trying to do back then too, like around when this game had first launched in the months preceding it, they were trying to push this narrative that anyone that criticized the game was like a fucking dude who dwells in his
incel.
an incel dude who dwells in the basement, doesn't get no pussy type shit, and it's just like I just don't get what the problem is with criticism, nigga. You are not forcing me to like something I don't like. Like I'm just telling you that straight up. Like, and I'm gonna tell you it's shit just because I know the standard that you set for yourself. Now, granted, whether you can reach that again remains to be seen. And they didn't reach that, in my opinion, with this second installment. And they've essentially killed this franchise. So,
Corporation killed art. That's all I'll say.
yeah. And
And I gotta say though too,
oh,
go ahead.
no, you can go. You can go. It's fine.
I was just gonna say like the term ableism has been a new term that I've only seen for the past 3 years, and it's a very it's a real thing, I would say, but I think people blow this out of proportion a lot. I think human language has been completely overtly exaggerated to where like we're trying to express things, but I guess we just either don't have the like I don't really know, but we just like we like take these words and blow it out of proportion and say like this is ableism, this is like I don't want to say like racist because sometimes, well, actually, no, sometimes people kind of blow things out of proportion through text and like, yeah, it was kind of racist. But for this case, like ableism, I don't know. Like, it's really weird. Like, ableist language, that's new to me. That really is. I understand if like ableist was like, hey, you're on a wheelchair, but we don't have like an elevator or a ramp or anything like that. Like that's ableist. But this whole thing with
The
just Valhalla. Yeah, and
censored
like
era where
ableism didn't exist in Valhalla or during that time because I actually told Bean like back in the day, and I think anyone would know this. Like if you were handicapped in any sort of fashion, you were either dead or you were literally getting shipped with a pack of wolves on a sled. That's literally how it was.
yeah.
I don't know.
But it's like we said before too, just to add on to that, like we like to like scrub over history as if it's like squeaky clean. No, nigga. No, if you look shit up, like especially like let's even say holidays that we celebrate in the US, dude, a lot of those holidays are on some fuck shit, dude. If you actually really look up that shit, like the history behind some of those holidays, it's disgusting actually. Like it's really bad.
Yeah.
So it's just like it is what it is. Whether you like do that shit or not, it's just like, bro, I just don't understand why these people say stuff like this. And I can even tie that in further with another recent game, a game that we actually all love, was Ghost of Tsushima. But then there was this whole thing back then, like people were super happy that Ghost of Tsushima was winning and that it was basically giving The Last of Us 2 like a bop in its head, and that was hilarious when it was happening. But then you had all these like snub Axis media sites who were trying to do all this weird like smearing against Ghost of Tsushima, right? And I remember this one I was listening to where basically they were saying how like, oh man, Ghost of Tsushima is like the way they have the Mongols are just so bad, like they represent them with such a bad light, and like God, like the Japanese should really be like offended and angry at this. And it's like, yeah, or like it's like the Asians or whatever they said should be angered at like. Well, I don't know if they said it like that. I'm just paraphrasing to be honest with you.
Though.
But
I honestly wouldn't.
But like, and it's just like, how are you trying to tell people what they should feel? And I thought the funniest part about that is like over in Japan, they love that game. So you look like a fucking doof with you just saying that shit. Like
I'm
trying to tell people.
I'm now looking at like racist things, like racist articles, and it was K-pop fans that were upset and calling it racist. But it's really weird coming from them, considering the fact that those are Korean pop people, which I don't know. Like people are fucking weird. We need to cancel the world, dog.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, let's go further down this rabbit hole, though.
We're already here. We're already here. There's a lot to talk about in terms of like canceling. So what do you want to start with first?
Let's talk about the Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian, like I like the show, but recently, like the past couple episodes have been kind of hit or miss for me because the pacing of it was so good towards the end of the season. But like now it's sort of like picking up, and like the story is kind of like having like these little bits of filler. Because all I want to see is the Mandalorian meeting Ahsoka Tano. That's really all I'm waiting for.
Yeah, which should happen this next upcoming episode. So.
Oh, thank God! Yeah, because that's what I'm looking forward to. And for some strange reason, because there was an episode, it might have been 2 or 3, where the Mandalorian had to like transfer this frog lady to a planet, so because I guess her husband knows of Ahsoka Tano's like area, or no, it was more Mandalorians. And during this travel, like she had like some eggs and stuff, and like Baby Yoda, which the term baby is very curious, and he sees these eggs and he eats some of them.
Yeah, because he's hungry.
Yeah, he's always hungry, and he doesn't know the difference. Hence the term Baby Yoda. Like they literally have. I honestly, I don't think I heard a lot of like Baby Yoda noises before, but I feel like they got that backlash, and I'm starting to hear it a lot more. This is like kind of like my own headcanon, just so like people who I don't know, like.
Yeah, we're bitching about this, which we're gonna get into, but yeah, I agree with you because I feel like this current episode that released this past Friday, they ramped up the cuteness by like 10, like by 100, and I get it, But it's just like I'm just happy that they're standing on their own too, because it's like the criticism here is idiotic.
Now, this criticism
It's
right here was just ridiculous, and I'm not gonna lie. People, I'm gonna say something that's gonna be slightly controversial, but if you think that Baby Yoda is causing fictional genocide, you deserve to get bullied. Like, if you're making such a big deal that a fictional 2-foot creature who doesn't even exist is creating genocide, you deserve to get made fun of, because that is the most mind-numbing thing I have ever seen. When I actually saw it, I thought it was a joke, but people are actually talking about, like, as a mom, I feel like this. Shut the fuck up, please.
yeah,
Like,
I just
I
this so stupid.
it's a TV show. Like, I swear, we can't have nothing. You know the reason why some TV shows have characters where they're not represented, like they're like anthropomorphic, and they're
Yeah,
like either like dogs with thumbs and shit like that, is so we don't have shit like that. It's because it's so much easier to get the story across, and you don't have to try to put yourself like in that character and live vicariously through good character like that. We
I
can't
just
do that now because I guess we somehow are relating to a female frog with like 3 fingers, and we're automatically just thinking, oh my gosh, what if this happened to my child? Okay, that's cannibalism. And then 2, you don't lay eggs. That is the weirdest shit I've ever heard. Honestly, as we're talking about this podcast, my head is kind of hurting just because of the fact that like I don't like people at all. And hearing shit like this just like makes me happy that natural selection is a thing.
yeah. So let me give you guys 2 examples within this article, right? Well, here's a person.
I just get some water.
Yeah, I'll take over. You go ahead and do what you gotta do. So you have one of these women. Here she goes. So, as a person who went through fertility treatments, and the mother of a baby who tries to eat everything, I get the intended gag of Baby Yoda eating the eggs. My first reaction was, "Oh my God, it's my child!" But then, stop it. The story makes it clear those eggs are important, and it's just like, but I do love this other woman's response to all this backlash that the show is receiving over a fictional fucking green, long-eared alien character. She says, the amount of people offended by this episode is ridiculous. I had fertility issues and I thought the part of Baby Yoda eating the eggs as dark humor. Chill the hell out. It's a sci-fi film, although that's not a film, it's a show. But no eggs were truly harmed. Yeah, those last fucking 5 words in that sentence. No eggs were truly harmed. Bing. Like, I just don't get why people, these weirdos, project themselves into media as if like it's the end all be all what like shit that happens on your screen. It's like it's just fucking weird.
The
Like,
frog lady wasn't even speaking any real language.
yeah, she was
Like,
croaking and shit, and then
she was speaking in croaks and ribbits, and like somehow we can just take that and just put ourselves like, oh my God, man, I hate this world. I really do.
Yeah, it's just not. I don't have the words. It's just flabbergasting. I just don't get it. And we've talked about this before. Like,
it's spellbinding,
yeah,
actually.
every instance of like entertainment, like it's like you said, as soon as shit blew up to a proportion where it's just mainstream, God, I hate it so much. So fucking much. Because now you have all these, and I'm going to continue to call you people this. If you fit in this category, you're a fucking weirdo if you do shit like this. Where you just like project yourselves in these games and entertainment media. Shit, we can even talk about Batwoman, even though we don't have that shit in here. That's a perfect example of that shit. With a little bit of tokenism in there. Where you have it to where it's just like Ruby Rose leaves the first season, and instead of like recasting her with like just another actress, you decide, let's have some diversity. Let's make her black now. But let's also give her a drug dealer background. As if like that is just the most groundbreaking story and isn't on some like stereotypical shit.
I actually because
Like,
I have class and stuff because I'm about to like graduate and get my bachelor's degree. But I have a class where I was talking about diversity and representation in media, and at first I was a little worried about talking about this because you know the idea of getting attacked, like no one likes that. But I just kind of said it out there. I was like, the idea of tokenism with characters is almost just as racist, if not even worse, because it has this false mask of representation. And in this case right here, I don't even know the actress's name, but
I
just
forgot.
seeing just seeing the character, like they were under like the idea that she has the bat costume, right? She has a bat costume, completely bulletproof, like stealth activated, all that shit. She can scale through the night. But what's in the back of her head they feel was so necessary to show a fucking afro? I understand if this is an anime, maybe because anime is over exaggeration of action and movement. But the fact this is like real life, you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna fucking grab her by the back of her scalp, and then somehow I guarantee you, she's gonna mention about how like if the villain is white, don't touch my hair, and I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I'm gonna want to smoke a fucking, I'm gonna want to smoke because of how stupid that dialogue is, and yeah, I don't even do that, but no,
yeah,
tokenism is a bad thing. There was another
yeah,
example I was gonna bring up too, where it was like just like diversity and stuff. It's just like they just do it poorly. I
yeah.
can't think.
It's just like an attempt, with all the like Black Lives Matter stuff that was happening earlier this year and all the protests and stuff, and you have these corporations and companies that are just like, yeah, well, we don't want to be canceled, so yeah, let's just say we're for the blacks, and like you just do all this weird stuff. Like I always say, man, instead of like making like Superman black or Wonder Woman or some other weird shit, how about you just make a new fucking character? Kind of like I have an example of that in Arrow. John Diggle, that nigga never existed in the comics, yet they created him, and he was a popular character in Arrow because he was just like Oliver's right hand man, like his brother, right? In
Like his origin
arms,
story should make sense. Like he
right?
shouldn't
It
be,
shouldn't be steeped in like just being black, like you were saying.
yeah, like you shouldn't be Batman because you're black, nor should you be Spider-Man. There's a reason why Miles Morales didn't work at first because of the fact that he was Spider-Man. There was a black Spider-Man just because of representation. It didn't work like that. Like what was his purpose from being Spider-Man? Like
Exactly.
into the Spider-Verse, the whole thing was so Miles could learn how to be his own Spider-Man, not to be a copy. That whole message kind of flew over people's heads a little bit because like you don't want to be a copy. These characters that like are like that have this persona like Batman, Spider-Man, they're not like they are in an identity, but you have to find like your own like reason for being that. Like what does the
Right.
mantle like mean to you?
Right. And I think that's what I recently watched Jeremy John's review of the Miles Morales game, which I plan on getting hopefully sometime soon because it looks awesome. But what he brought up is like the fact that they made Miles his own character. So even though you see the word Spider Man, you can think either or of him or Peter or both because they're both Spider Man. It's not just Peter now. He
Yeah,
is too. And
they're
they
honestly
can,
killing it with him.
yeah, like it's just like it's awesome to see that. Like for characters that come in their own. Now in that instance where they just tried to make a black Spider-Man, it didn't work. Granted, that's I'll give that a pass, I guess, because at least they tried to make it to where okay, yeah, he's not just black. Like we'll flesh it out. We'll see like if we can gain interest in the character and build him up. While granted, he is kind of right off the Spider-Man name. They still differentiated enough that you could be like, okay, Miles is Spider-Man. He's different from Peter. He can live in this universe. It's cool. But
Yeah.
I still stand by the fact that I just don't like when they just do it for the sake of just doing it, just to
And
seem
then they
like it's
over
diversity.
exaggerate. Like I honestly think, and I mentioned this in class. I feel like when they do things like that, they kind of reinforce like trauma porn, where they're just like, oh my gosh, like because I'm so glad they didn't do this, where it's like Spider-Man, he became Spider-Man, and his like Spidey senses was like triggering off, and then all of a sudden it was a cop. They're like, put your hands up, motherfucker! And it's just like, I'm glad they didn't do that because it's just like we don't as a black community, we do not need to see that anymore.
No,
we don't need to see that in like it was good in like Luke Cage and stuff like that because like honestly it kind of made it feel worse because I feel like this made cops just be like, well, let's see if you're bulletproof, motherfucker. And like I don't know. I just don't like it. So yeah, Baby Yoda got canceled for genocide. Rihanna has some interesting stuff right here because Beam, you know more about this. It had something to do with the Muslim community and
yeah, like I didn't like my mom was telling me about it, so I got an article and I kind of skimmed through it. So basically, what ended up happening, and this was like I think like a month or two ago. So like essentially what had happened is Rihanna has this Fenty show, you know, for her brand that she I don't know, I just lost my train of thought. The brand that she has with all her lingerie and stuff. So
yeah.
she has it on Amazon, and I think in one of those like because it's like a show, but then they have all these other like various like catwalks or whatever it is that they do to show off all the lingerie or whatever. I'm pretty sure I fucked up by saying catwalk, but you know, oh, the runway. That's what I meant. Anyway, so I believe in one of those sections she had a song. Mind you, it wasn't her song, but it was a song by someone else that had the hadith, and it is in the article it says is a pivotal source of religious law and moral guidance. It records traditions and sacred sayings, and incorporating these into beats is deemed deeply disrespectful. Now I get that, but here's the thing, and I can honestly bring up the shit because like the shit with Cardi too, because it's kind of in the same realm. Yeah. So with Cardi over here, this was more recent. So she is dropping, or she has this deal with Reebok, and the shoes, by the way, they look pretty dope. But she does this photo shoot, and she gets called out for culture appropriation from the Hindu community. I don't know, like that, because of the way she has this. What is the name for it?
Oh, she had the gate, not the geisha. She had this. It was like God of Destruction, like on some Dragon Ball shit. I actually forgot her name, but
yeah, but
for Hindu culture, like it's a blue deity, and it's supposed to be symbolism for God of Destruction.
Right. Thank you for that. Cause I wish I could say the name, but I don't want to like prolong this any more than I have to, because I'm just trying to connect these two together. So basically, you have Rihanna and you have this Cardi. Now I understand it's a very sensitive thing with religion and using it and in your show or for a shoot or something like that. I get that, and you have a right to say, hey, that's not right. Can you do better next time? Make sure that doesn't happen again. What I don't like is the fact that it seems like this is specifically for cancel culture. And now I'm going to preference this by saying, like, with cancel culture, I get it, like, in terms of, like, correcting people. But why are people...
Who actually called her out? Was it people from the Hindu community? Like, or was it critics? I'm seeing this as critics.
For Cardi?
Yeah.
I think it was, like, the actual Hindu... Maybe it was a combination of both. I'm not sure, because it doesn't really stay in the article, I think. But the thing that irks me about cancel culture is, like, are you not allowed to make mistakes as a human anymore? And now, like I said, I'm going to preface this by saying, like, if you're a rapist or, like, some weirdo, like, serial killer or, like, child abuser, weird shit, I'm not saying like that. Like, nah, you should go, like, fucking hell and just burn. What I'm saying is a mistake like this, because, sure, should you have done your research on should I have used this or not? Sure. But that's a mistake. And when you come out and say, hey, guys, I'm sorry, I fucked up, won't happen again, yet you can still continue to attack them after that, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, you are not better than me. You have made mistakes before. Why are you trying to be holier than that? That's all.
I'm not gonna lie. Some of the stuff that I'm seeing just from our notes, it looks like a lot of people that are getting caught in this cancel culture thing are black.
Yeah,
that's what I'm noticing. Like, couple, like I think it was either earlier this year or last year, Kevin Hart got canceled. Now we're looking at Cardi B. It was Doja Cat. It was Rihanna, which I mean, I don't even know how you can even attack Rihanna. Not just because of the fact that like she's on her shit, but she's honestly like making a platform for diversity
right.
on such a massive scale.
Not even for color too, like body types, body shapes, like
yeah,
especially color. Like she's killing it out there. Super cool to see her doing that.
Yeah, ridiculously like well done. But I don't know. And this kind of goes into like a race thing. I really don't want to get into it. It's just something that I've just observed because a lot of people just I don't fucking know.
Yeah. So I just
move on to the consoles.
Hold on. Before we get to the consoles, because I know we're going to be spending a lot of time on that. I just have two other. We can go into movies and consoles because I forgot I had these down here. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
So, what's really cool and what I didn't expect from Warner Bros. And HBO over here, if you guys haven't heard the news, which if you're a fan of comic book movies, you would have heard the news. They're planning to release Wonder Woman 1984, which is Wonder Woman 2, basically, on HBO Max. And that's for free, by the way, for free for the first month. Nigga, that is super dope. Like, I could have never seen that happening, even with the pandemic and all that stuff with the, which it seems like we're going another shutdown, by the way. But yeah, the theaters, they're gonna, I don't know what's gonna happen in theaters. Like, I think it's like we were saying before, they're gonna turn into like this novelty thing that maybe once in a blue moon you go to, but I don't think they're gonna have that much clout as they did before, which is why you're seeing things like this. Which this begs me to question what will happen with like Black Widow on Marvel. Like, I was looking it up like yesterday, I believe, and apparently Marvel still hasn't talked about it, like no plans on releasing on Disney Plus, which I think is not a very good move. Like, I think you should just try to test the waters. Like, this is a super cool thing that HBO and Warner Bros. They didn't even have to do that. They could have just been like, nah, we'll just release it next year. It's cool. Like, that shit is dope. So even if Disney did it, and because I feel like they were trying to do that even with Mulan. Now, granted, that movie was garbage, and you paid $30 for it. But even if they did that on Disney Plus, like with, let's say Black Widow was like 25 or 30, whatever, I get it because I'm a Marvel fan. Fuck it, you know what I'm saying? So I just think that's something they should consider because I can't wait to watch Wonder Woman 2. Wonder Woman 1 was great. That was like one of the best DC movies they had. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the only one that just didn't, at that time, wasn't shite. So yeah. And also,
I think it's necessary though.
Yeah.
With no theaters and stuff that you need to rely on streaming heavily. I think Disney should do Black Widow on Disney Plus. Because they're losing $7 billion. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like Disney for multiple reasons. On a corporate level, I don't like them with their affiliation with China and the little internment camps they had for Muslim people. Don't like them for that. So the fact they lost $7 billion doesn't affect me. I mean, even if it did, or even there's no way it would affect me basically. But I don't really care.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like, I don't trust a lot of these corporations because they're so money hungry and they do anything to get it.
Yeah. So, with that being said, though, they should, like, outside my own little personal rambling right there, they should put that onto Disney Plus because that movie needs to come out.
Honestly. It does. Like, it does.
They need to figure it out. Put it for $30, like fucking shit lawn or.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the thoughts on that. And I just want to quickly now. I take this one with a grain of salt because I couldn't find this on like one of the more reputable sites. It's from a place called Hypebeast. I don't know how credible they are, but it makes sense if it was happening. So apparently, Constantine 2 is in the works now. Whether that's going to be on within the DC cinematic universe, I have no idea. But I think it makes sense because Keanu right now, and he's one of my favorite actors. I just wanted to say because he's just always awesome. He kills his roles that he's in. But it makes sense if they are doing Constantine 2 because right now he's had a resurgence, right? He's doing Matrix 4, he's doing John Wick 4, he's doing this. Like he's putting breath back into these franchises that had already ended. Well, except for John Wick, that was more recent, but you get what I'm saying. So it's cool. And I thought Constantine won, like, because at that time I didn't know much about the Constantine character. I don't know how well that movie fared back then, like in terms of fans, because I know it was so different from the character. But I'm up for it. I mean, why not? You have a good script and CGI and all that shit. I'm looking forward to it. So I guess we'll just see what happens like with that. And
this nigga's gonna be in Cyberpunk too. So
yeah, he's gonna be in Cyberpunk.
He's got a lot of shit coming his way.
Yeah, he does. He does. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up that. So we can get into the yeah, the big stuff, the console, the gaming shit that's been going on.
The big old things. So God, next generation. It seems like every single time a new generation starts, there's always problems. Which I mean, like, is to be expected. But you know, with this having the pandemic and stuff like that, it's just amplified. And neither consoles are doing so hot right now. I honestly feel like PlayStation 5 is doing worse. There's a long list of things that were causing the issues for PS5, and it pretty much just caused shit to break. Like, let me see if I can find a list right here because, like, it was like along the lines of like you putting it in rest mode, it would fail. Like, if you didn't like update your controller, it would fail. Like a lot of these things that would just cause it to break. And like Sony, I don't understand what they were doing or how they kind of missed this when people already had early copies, early early console releases, and they were testing it out. But the fact that it got this far and it somehow just people were just like, "Oh, this is bricking. I can't use this. It was free. It was freezing." I've seen a lot of videos where people were playing Spider-Man and Miles just sunk to the ground. This man went Atlantis Underworld, like, I don't know, and it was stupid because they couldn't fix it because it's not like it's a computer. And then there's instances where it overheats. It's just not looking good. Saying it, Chief. And Xbox has its own little wood chipper feature where it just fucks up the disc. Which that is the last thing I would have thought that was going on because you know we've had optical drives for almost 30 years and somehow we're fucking it up again in 2020. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like as a person, I learned my lesson. I'm happy right now. I'm broke, so I can't even get either of these consoles. But I'll just tell you guys up front, being an early adopter is never a good idea, and I can attest to that because during the PS4 and the Xbox launch, way back in 2013, 2014, wherever the fuck it was, me being a little nigga that I was, skipped school, went in stood outside or sat outside GameStop with a bunch of other people, which it was a cool experience. We camped out a little bit, waited for GameStop to get the PS5 or PS4s in stock. And yeah, we just sat out there, got our consoles, went back home. Let me tell you what happened to me. Turned my PS4 on, and what do you think happened? The fucking HDMI connectors were fucked. Turn it on, no display. Dude, you know how pissed I was? It took weeks to get a working one. I sent that back, got a new one, same fucking issue. I kid you not. Which made me think, did they even send me a new console? I don't know. Send that shit back. And I'm talking to the guy on the phone. I'm like, bro, this shit is ridiculous. Like, why the fuck am I getting broken consoles? And he tells me, he was just like, yeah, I'm sorry for all this inconvenience. Now, if it were to happen again, you call back, tell us about it, and yeah, we'll get you talking to the big wigs about like reimbursement and stuff and like getting your money back. I was just like, well, shit, nigga, say less because now I want that shit to be broken again. Now, granted, of
Yeah.
course, third time's the charm. That shit actually started working. I say all that to say, I just wait. That's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do because it's a
Don't.
gamble. It's a gamble.
Yeah. Don't. I wouldn't even rush. I mean, first of all, the damn bots keep buying the PlayStation 5 anyways, so it's very, very hard to get in. In fact, the same friend who was telling me about the Uplay Plus, he was trying like for days, and I was like, every time he'd message me, he was like, "Man, I can't get the fucking pre-orders. God damn it!" Because like Walmart was fucking up because like they're like, "Yeah, we can't. Like we have them in stock, but then like the second like it hit like 6 or 9 o'clock, they're like, "Yep, it's out of stock." And no, there's really no reason to. I mean, honestly, you're pushing brick after brick like a damn drug dealer because the consoles ain't working. Like it's not worth it. It
It's
really
not.
isn't.
And not
I
only that, I just want to quickly say, not to cut you off.
no,
Uh, uh, the whole like the amount of storage you have on these are shite. I'm just gonna be honest because
yeah,
like I personally like to just get a console like when they have like the God of War edition or some other special edition for a game that I want like Horizon. If they have Horizon edition, I'll pick that up because I'm sure they'll have like a gigabyte or a gigabyte, 1 gigabyte. Yeah, they'll have 1 terabyte or more in storage. I'd rather have that than like 800. It's like I'm cool. And again, like I said, it's a gamble. Now, whether and how bad you want that console, that's up to you. I'm cool though. You know what I'm saying? Like
There's a
all these
lot of other
problems.
issues just going with the consoles because like I found out because I had thought because I guess there's difference between like Bluetooth like 3 point something and then Bluetooth 5.1. I was under the impression that it was Bluetooth 5.1 so I can connect my Beats headset to my PlayStation so that way I can like chat and have like a comfortable like experience because sometimes like when I have like my headset, well first of all I don't actually want to be connected to my PlayStation just so I can like talk because like that means I'm having to be in front of my TV, which I wear glasses, so it's not good for me to actually do that. And I just want to sit on my couch and enjoy a game. And they said that, yep, you can't use it. In fact, you can't even use old Sony headsets that are wireless because there's some proprietary thing. I might have said that word wrong, but like,
Proprietary.
yeah, proprietary thing going on where basically they just want the new headsets that are coming out. But Sony has a thing with their headsets that just fucking sucks. Like me and Kai Beam both when we're like during the PlayStation 3 days,
Yeah.
we fucked up by getting the wireless thing. That thing was literally falling apart on us, and it was the worst.
Yeah. It was garbage. Couldn't hold battery life. Shit started peeling. Like that is just a poorly made headset. So having to, unless you drastically increase the quality, which I highly doubt, that is garbage. Because we've been complaining about that since PS4. Why the fuck can I just connect my AirPods or some other shit to this so I don't have any extra cables? You fucks. Like I just don't get it. But now let me not say I don't get it. I get it because at the end of the day, money. That's why they're doing it. Yeah, you want to talk to your friends and have the best Bluetooth with no wires and shit? Yeah, get our headset for $200 or whatever the fucking price is, bitch. Fuck you. And it's just
Yeah.
like that is such garbage. It's garbage. I don't know the same for Xbox. I never looked into it, so I can't say how it is for them over there. But yeah, that
We
shit is
both believe
garbage.
that Xbox is going to be killing it this generation. It might
Yeah,
not seem like it, but Sony is doing a lot of things that are making themselves anti-consumer, being anti-consumer and just very difficult to work with. And like I said, I get the fact that the pandemic is going on, but goddamn, please, for the sake of just a stress-free experience, address what's going on if they haven't. Because I don't think anyone has.
no,
But like, do something. If they should have been like what they should have did was release a console with the M.2 extensions because you only get 600 gigabytes of free space that you can use, which if you were going to put Call of Duty Cold War, which that is 135 gigabytes for that console, you only have about maybe roughly 450 gigabytes left of space.
That's
And it's
trash.
it is trash. And you know what? I'm a PC gamer. And in fact, I even bought an M.2 SSD, a terabyte, for like less than $130. Like, why can't Sony just do that? Why do they have to wait? Why wait? It's weird out here, man. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add in because it was a small little thing I saw in here. I think you posted it, but apparently it says PS Plus is the only way to back up PS5 save games. No USB save ports, which, like, it is like Izzy said, one of our
That's
buddies.
conflicting news right there, though, because like, when I saw, they said, yeah, you can connect, because how else would you connect Ghost of Tsushima? Because I have Ghost of Tsushima on an external hard drive, and they said that you can connect it either through through PlayStation Plus, or B, through the USB. Now I get that you can't. There's no update for the USB, so if you plug a USB into the PS5, it bricks. But say to be determined instead of just saying like, hey, you officially can't use this, because that's conflicting news.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, it's like you said too. Like, me and Izzy called this like back when the PS4 first launched. Like, Microsoft was going to, just because of how last generation they started off, doing what Sony was doing. I mean, more so they were leaning into television and shit, and not really doing gaming, and they were being anti-consumer friendly. You knew from that they were going to lose that generation because they just started off on a bad foot. But what I don't think Sony realized is that behind the scenes they were making all these acquisitions and moves and putting these moves in place and doing all this positioning for this generation, which I think they're going to win.
Behind the scenes, though, because like they just outright.
Well, not even behind the scenes. Yeah, there was things that just like acquiring Bethesda, and now they're trying to get GameStop. It's just things like that. Yeah, it's like Sony. Like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they got their heads up their ass because they think, oh, we won the last generation. Ha ha. Yeah, they'll take anything we throw at them. Like, nah, wouldn't say that, bro. Like, yeah, you have a couple games that I want to play, most definitely, like some exclusives that I'm looking forward to. But beyond that, you guys are doing a lot of fuck shit. Like, that's just straight up.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. Like, you have to have a balance here. I understand at the end of the day, you're a corporation, and your only drive, as with every fucking thing in America, is to make money. So how do you do that? Is to gouge your customers. But there's a way to do that, and then there's ways to do it like, there's ways to do that when you look like an asshole, and then there's ways to do it where it's like not so abrasive and like up in your face about it. It's just like, come on, dog. Like, just simple things would make the experience better, and you're choosing not to do it. It's like, okay, all right.
I don't know. I really don't know. So are we done with the consoles?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
all right, we don't really have anything that we've been watching, except for Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm still
Beam
watching.
Has been
watching.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, and yeah, I've been continuing watching the new Inuyasha anime for Yashahime.
I completely forgot.
I've actually been enjoying it. It's a nice like slice of back then and like updated. It's cool. Like, I'm enjoying what's going on so far. So if you're a fan of Inuyasha and you know the story, or you recently watched it, or whatever have you, I check it out. It's dope. But yeah, I'm still in the process of watching Breaking Bad. Like, it's just so many things to juggle. Like, I play games, I watch shit, and it's just like I love that show. Don't get me fucked up. It's just there's so much shit going on that I just get distracted sometimes. But I am making my way slowly but surely through season 2, and it's great. It's a great show.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Between me, it's just like it's work, and because I have like a freelance business. I've mentioned that multiple times, but I just find myself very with work and school and stuff like that. Like, sometimes I'll watch some things, and like some things I just won't. So
yeah.
I don't know.
One thing I also been watching too that I enjoy is a Forged in Fire. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but pretty entertaining show. It's just like blacksmiths and like all these other guys like get together, like 4 contestants. They like make blades and shit. And it's funny. The funniest part is when these niggas' blades fail, like during testing. That shit is hilarious. But yeah, it's a fun little show. It's on Hulu. You never heard of it? It's a good watch. Like, throw an episode on and just watch it. It's pretty fun. But
this stuff kind of reminds me because I was thinking last night how I'm like so glad I don't live in a time where like we have to like work in factories because of the fact that it's like it's just so bad. I watched again. I just saw this on Reddit, and like this guy was going like for some reason like one thing you don't want to do if it's like a pressing machine where it causes like it pulls things in to either flatten it or whatever, please do not put your hands in those things. And I saw a clip where a guy did that, and this nigga got flattened.
Like him entirely himself got
His
flattened.
person got flattened.
Oh man!
And it's just like I was like, God, and yeah, it was just I don't know. It wasn't traumatizing or anything like that, but I just shook my head. I was just like natural selection. The same thing would happen with this other guy because like there's like some machines that just like spin and shit, and you're really not supposed to put your hand in there. And this happened in Russia, and this dude, this like older guy, stuck his hand, and his arm got caught, and the force was so strong, like. If you see the videos, like it just looks unreal, but like his arm got stuck and then it just pulled him and he was just like in the machine, like getting tossed around. And man, he got spun so hard, he flew to pieces.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you can't pay me enough money to do that. Like I would never go into the warehouse position jobs anymore. I did it before and I almost hurt my back. And I didn't stick around for long because like the policies are just outdated. Like the turnover rate is so high, so they're just like if you get hurt and you don't like it, you just go ahead and quit. There's nothing we're gonna do about it. And I don't feel like I need to like be in a wheelchair at the age of 42 because of the fact I'm too busy picking up 90-pound boxes for a living. That's just not how it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, I can personally attest to that. I stay away from warehouse jobs. I was at a warehouse for pretty much like 3 or 4 years. That shit is ass, bro. You don't get paid a lot. You're doing strenuous work, and they always want you to be perfect over there, which is fucking impossible with the amount of volume you have. Like, fuck all that. Like, I'm never doing a warehouse job again.
I'm not gonna lie. The people who say like, oh, we need our warehouse jobs, leave that shit to the robots.
Exactly. Them niggas will do it with efficiency. Efficiency, nigga.
They're gonna do it a lot better than you, and I'm sorry if you lose your job, but that is the future. Because seriously, like that shit is not for us. We could probably only do it for like 15 years, but at some point, one little slip up and a fucking toilet falls on your foot, and like you got a busted up leg for the rest of your life. It's just not it.
No,
find
it isn't.
a profession, be a plumber, and like unclog some shit out of a toilet or something. But I don't know. That's just not me.
Yeah, I agree. It's garbage.
Yeah. But with that in mind, if you have anything else you want to say, we can go ahead and wrap up this episode of the podcast.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly say, I mean, it's already out now, but Megan Thee Stallion, I mean, she released her album Friday. I haven't listened to it fully, but it sounded cool. Like I said, if nothing else, just check it out for the first track, man. Like it's called Shots Fired. She fucking lit to his ass. Congrats her on that. But and I hope she sells well. And also too, another artist that I like, Danny Lay, she recently released an album like a week or two ago, and yeah, it's pretty fire. I check it out. It's called Movie, and it's by Danny Lay. Yeah, check it out. But
all right.
Yeah.
For my notes, I guess I think for next week we are going to I want to talk about like the worst TV shows and movies of the past decade because There's pretty bad ones out there, and for some odd reason, I keep thinking that we are in like 2010. So I'm thinking about movies that are like from the year 2000 to again 2010. But nope. Thinking about that right there because there's a lot of shows that are really bad out there, in my personal opinion. And so yeah, we can go ahead and talk about it, and yeah, talk about other stuff too. I think we also should talk about Beam, dysfunctional families, and just like stuff
Yeah.
that goes on with just like our extended families, because we both deal with stuff like that. Get a little bit more personal, so there's a little bit of insight in our lives, things like that.
Yeah, I originally wanted to do that this episode, like talk about it, but I think it's a nice, wholesome hour we're at. Honestly, I thought we'd go a lot longer, but it's only an hour and 25, so I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll save that dysfunctional family talk and stuff for the next podcast, and that should be fun.
Yeah.
So,
mind if I close this out?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
All right, everyone. So this has been the Beam podcast. If you like what you saw, or like what you saw, if you like what you hear, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to hear more, subscribe. And yeah, we will be doing another episode every 2 weeks. So yeah, stay tuned. By the next time we do one, we're probably going to be all fat from Thanksgiving. And yeah,
yeah.
Have a good one.
Yeah, speaking of which, just quickly to say, have a good Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Don't be a dumbass. And go see your extended family flying everywhere. And like, if you want to spread COVID, that's your business. But don't be an idiot. That's all I'm saying. Peace.